Hello everyone, this is Sanjeev from interviewbox.tech. Thanks for coming to my channel, and in today's video I'm going to talk about Python errors and exception handling. So errors can occur and stop your program in an unexpected way. Like for example, you have some function and you are trying to divide two numbers like a with b, and your b value is like 0. So your program will interrupted in a way that it will just stop there and it will not execute after that. So how we can overcome that problem, and how we can use the proper error handling or the exception handling in our program, so that it doesn't just crash, but it just see the error and then keep continue after that, or basically provide a proper error message to the user. So proper error handling required to plan for possible errors that can come in your program execution, and proper error handling let the script continue to execute other part of the program, the other code, even if there is an error occur. So how we can achieve the proper error handling? So there are some keyword that you can use in your program and with the block of code that basically make a proper flow of execution in your program. So first is try block. So this block of code execute initially, when you say okay, I want to divide two number a with b, you will put that in a try block. And then except block is the next one, and this block of code execute if there is an error in try block. So for example, if you're trying to divide number 5 with number 0, then it will just go to the except block and raise the error and say hey, you are division error. So it's a 0 division error that we call. And then next is else block. This block of code execute only if there is no error in try block. So for example, you put the division in your try block, both numbers are integers or float, there is no problem. Then it will go to the else, and for example, you are printing your division output in that else block, so it will jump to that. And the next is finally. So this block of code always execute, doesn't matter what it is, either you have an error in your program or you don't have error, this finally block of code will always execute. So these are some of the common error message that we see in program if if there's some kind of error that we see. Like for example, syntax error. Syntax error comes when you are missing, for example, parentheses in your with your function, or you're missing a colon, after the function definition, or when you're using loop like for loop, while loop, and you forget to put the colon there. So that is the syntax error. And the next is type error, is the operation that is applied to the wrong type. Like for example, you're trying to add integer with the string, so then you will see the type error. Next is index error. So index error is you are trying to get an element or the item from your list with the invalid index, so then you will see the index error. Next is key error, and you are trying to get a value for a key from your dictionary, but that key does not exist in the dictionary, so then you will see the key error. And the last one is 0 division error that I already mentioned. If you're trying to divide a number with 0, then you will see the 0 division error. So now let's go to the PyCharm, and then we will write some method there and try to execute some command and try to apply proper error handling. Okay, so here I'm in PyCharm IDE. So let's create a file. I can say error handling. Okay, so let's write a function. For example, I will say def divide num, and here I can pass to value, and I will say a divided by b, and let's print some message here. Like for example, I can use the fstring method, and I will say division output of A divided by B is output. So here I'm just printing a message like when it says like your output is like when A divided by B is this. So let's first let's call this method divide num, and let's pass, for example, 3,4. Okay, so your A is 3 and your B is 4. So let's execute this. And you see division output of 3 divided by 4 is this. So now you pass to integer value. But for example, you pass here 0. And we are not using the error handling right now. So I just want to show you, if you don't use the error handling, then how your program gets stopped, like in an unexpected way. So let's run this, and you see here. So it says this a 0 division error, and that means you are dividing your number by 0. So that's how your program get like kind of crash. So now let's do the proper error handling here, and so that our program don't just crash like this, but instead of that, like we can print like a proper error message for the user. So let's add here a try block. Okay, and then it will be proper indentation because we have a colon here. So like that, and here we are going to use except block. So if you recall correctly, I mentioned like except will only execute if there is a problem in the try block, right? So we say except, not here, it will be right here. So we are putting except this message 0 division error, and let's print some message here. We can tell user like don't divide. Okay, so we have to use the double quote here because we are using single quote within the string. Okay, so we tell user like if the except block get executed, then we will tell user like, hey, don't divide by 0. And else if there is no problem, so what is gonna do, like print some message here, or we can just, this one, we already have this message. Okay, so we'll say like this is the output, and let's use the finally here for something just for fun. Okay, say finally, say print, and we can say just like this method is executed. Divide num executed. Okay, so now let's run this. So first let's run this in a proper way. We have 2 integer value. Okay, so as you see here, there was no problem, right? So it says like, okay, division output of 3 divided by 2 is 1.5, and then it execute finally, and here it says like, okay, divide underscore num, that's our function name, the function is executed. So it checked in the try block, it didn't find any issue, then it jumped to the else block and it print this message, and then it print the finally block message. So now let's introduce some error here. So when you run this, so you see like this time when you are dividing by 0, your program did not crash. It basically gives the user like a proper message that you pass in the except block. So it says like, don't divide by 0. That's here. It come to the except block, and then it just go to the finally block and print this message like divide num function is executed. So that's how you handle the proper error messages within your program. So this is only for like 0 division error, like, but for example, your user pass instead of integer value it passed like some kind of string value by mistake. So your 3 is integer, your 4 is like a string representation. So when you will run this, so now let's try to run this, and you see we are not checking that error, right? So here it says unsupported operand types because you're trying to divide int with a string. So for that one you can add another error type, like you can add another block and it will be type error. So I can add another print statement. So message we can pass like given number should be int or float, something like that, some message. So now if you execute this, your program will run this message. So here it says like given number should be int or float, and then the finally block executed. So that's how you handle that. But now, for example, you want to check like 4 or 5 different kind of error message. So it's very hard to put like repeat this except block one after another. So what you can do, you can even combine this. So like for example, you can type here, and then you just combine those two, and you don't need this. And here you can say like accept this comma this, and you can say as, for example, error, something like that. And then here you say print like some kind of generic message first, like for example you can say some error occurs, and then you print error. So in this case you don't have to repeat except block, but you just combine the different type of error handling in just one except block. So either now your user can pass like this, or try to divide by 0. This block will handle all the different kind of error messaging. So let's run this, and here you see it says some error occurs. So you're printing this, right, because you're trying to divide integer with a string, and then it's basically printing the error message that's coming from here. So you said like accept this and comma this as the error message. So you whatever the error coming from, either 0 division error or the type error, you are printing that error message. So now it says unsupported operand types for int and string. So now let's run, for example, our previous same thing, like divide by 0. So now if I run again, and here see it's properly handling the error message, say division by 0. So that is the message coming from the 0 division error class. So that's all for today's tutorial. It was very short, but this is like really useful and very important features that you have to use, or you must use in your program, basically to do the proper error handling. Otherwise your program will just crash if the user is giving like the wrong input for your wherever you are requiring to put the input. So proper error handling will save you a lot of time. It will basically save you a lot of time in debugging any problem within your program. So if you like this video, please press the like button, please subscribe to my channel, and I'm looking forward to see you guys in my next tutorial. Thank you very much, and have a great day.